Hey everybody, welcome back to Out of the Ordinary with Jay. And today I am with...
Linda.
And Linda, how old are you?
53.
I know you're not supposed to always ask a lady that, but
you got permission.
Yeah, I did get permission, and you look great for your age, so I think it's okay. Where are you from originally?
Well, I was born in Thailand.
Okay.
I lived there. There's like a fly buzzing around everywhere.
I got him.
So I was born in Thailand. I was there for 6 weeks. My father had to extend his orders because he was in the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
He was a guest of the Royal Thai Air Force.
Oh, wow.
Because the United States does not have a base there.
Wow.
And then came to the United States. And I grew up in a small town in northern Arizona.
Okay. That is the most interesting answer I've ever... Usually when I ask people from the, San Diego... Next question, Phoenix. Like you had a whole thing. That was cool.
I'm very loquacious.
That is, what is your, that was awesome. What is your occupation?
I am a travel agent, travel advisor.
Okay, travel advisor, okay. Mm-hmm. I think we'll do a separate video on travel because I have tons of questions about travel and I'll link to it in this video.
Okay.
So that'll be fun. But today, I'm here to ask you kind of my dozen top life questions and see what you might offer. For these questions.
See what kind of life I've lived for the last 53 years.
There we go. So, perfect segue, by the way. So, what are your thoughts on aging, just in general? Like the positive, the negative, aging gracefully, fighting it, health, happiness. Is there a perfect age? How old do you feel? So, what are just general thoughts you might have about aging?
I am going to fight it all the way.
Okay.
I mean, I use a certain line of skincare, and I have every anti-aging cream, every anti-aging serum that they offer.
This does not seem like gracefully then.
Oh no,
this seems like fighting it, going down.
If I have to slide into home and I'm like all messed up, I'm gonna fight the aging process. And it doesn't help that my kids make me feel old too.
Yeah, well, kids do that. I asked somebody this question because these are the questions I like to ask, but he works out a bunch and does some other dietary things and all these other things. And he kind of said that, about how you said you want to fight it till the death or whatever. He sort of made the comment he's like, but it keeps me doing what I'm supposed to do. In other words, trying to look young and trying to be able to act young and all those things forces him to do things he wouldn't normally do, like go to the gym and eat better. And you know what I mean? So it's kind of like basically, he was trying to frame it as an argument for this is a positive. In other words, it keeps me, from just drinking Coca-Cola and pies all day. You know what I mean? Or eating pies all day.
You can do that, but also fighting it. Just you're alive.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Not giving in. What is it? Not to go to the dark light, or what is that? That is some saying. I can't remember. Not to go.
But you come to the dark side. We have cookies.
There you go. Okay, next question. Speaking about aging. Immortality or afterlife? Now, let me explain. Supposing I showed up today and I had a magic, I don't know what color pill, a magic pink pill. And I show up and I'm like, it's the only pink pill in the world. There's only one. There's only ever going to be one. But if you take it, you're going to stay this age forever. 1,000 years from now, 10,000 years from now. Do you take it or do you say, no, I don't want that pill?
No, I don't want that pill.
Okay, how come?
Because if there's only one pill in the world, which means I would take it, my husband would not be able to take it. My children would not be able to.
So you'd outlive them all.
I'm going into the afterlife without the ones that I love the most.
Okay, so can I push back on you for a minute?
Go for it. Be the devil's advocate.
I shall. So, but if your kids have grandkids, you'll be around for them. And you'd know them pretty well, maybe. And if those grandkids had your great grandkids, you could, basically what I'm saying is you might know not be there for your original kids, but you'd know all the offspring all the way down the line forever.
But then it gets
so you'd kind of have a refill.
And then it gets so much and they don't know the stories.
Well, you'd be there to tell them.
No, not...
You get tired of telling the story?
But then you've got thousands of great-great-grandkids, and it's like, okay, well, I can't go to you because I'm over here.
Well, except for some of them would be passing away too. Oh, that's right, they would be. You're right. It would spread out over time.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
Thousands and thousands of offspring.
So not taking the immortality pill, you're taking, that's it, you're done.
I'm going to the afterlife, and I'm going to rule from there.
Okay. Do you worry about death in this? Or not really?
It's going to happen.
Okay, so no.
It's going to happen. So just have some fun now and keep going, which is why I fight the anti-aging.
Okay, gotcha. So your answer to that is no, not really.
Not really.
Okay.
Because I know it's going to happen. I'm not immortal.
Okay. And I don't have the pink pill anyway. So.
Exactly.
What's kind of your biggest fear or worry? And then the opposite of that, what is something you're most hopeful about?
Biggest fear, of course, will always be around my children and my husband, because, we want to be there for them. We can't hold them back, but they have to go live. And it's like, okay, did I do my job?
Yeah.
Did I teach them well enough to survive? Which that's the hope, I'm sure, of all parents. But some parents they hold on a little bit long, some don't. So I'm hoping that I didn't hold on too long and I let them go and they become successful adults. And
I was just thinking on you mentioned the job, you called it the job. Did I do a good job of raising my kids? And also, it just came to my mind just now that I was thinking like, that's kind of funny because it is a job, but you don't get paid anything for it.
And
then I was thinking like, I know how good I've done at jobs where I didn't get paid very well. So I'm just thinking like, parents don't, I guess they have a vested interest in how their kids are doing, but boy, it doesn't pay very well. Anyway, okay. What about something you're most hopeful about?
I'm hopeful that I get to see all 3 of my children marry.
Okay. Marry like happy or marry like
marry
coupled?
Like getting married, finding their true love and living on with their life. Because I've always told my girls that don't date anybody who's an idiot. Don't date anybody.
Well, that limits it. You're striking out one. You're striking out one whole gender.
And also, don't date or don't marry anyone who has less ambition than you.
Ah, okay. So you want them to have somebody with some ambition.
I would like that. Now, of course, you can't control who you fall in love with, but I can control who I can spar.
So there you go. That's right. So that's right. Yeah, you told me earlier you're a black belt in karate, right?
Yes, the whole family.
Yeah. Oh, we got to do a video on that sometime. That sounds awesome. Your whole family's a bunch of black belts?
So in fact, I'm the low man on the totem pole.
Oh, get out of town. That's amazing. That would be a fun interview. So you mentioned that you want your kids to marry, and then I kind of joked about marry like happy or whatever. That's a question. Would you rather them be happy single or married and less happy?
I want them to be happy,
first.
However they find happiness.
Okay, I gotcha. So MERRY, more important than MARRY.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And MERRY, not necessarily Santa, Mary.
Gotcha. Okay. Although he's pretty cool.
Yeah, we like Santa. I see him about once a year.
I've never seen him. I've never seen him. There was a creepy guy in a mall who pretended to be him, but anyway.
Got to go on that train that goes up to...
North Pole Express.
Yes.
Okay. What would you do if you found out, this is kind of back on the aging adjacent.
You're trying to make me old.
No. No, but, well, now this sort of fits. But what would you do if you found out you only had 1 year to live? Say I don't show up with the pink pill, instead I show up with a document that says, I'm sorry, you only have exactly 12 months left. What would you do? What would you do if you found out you had 1 year to live?
I would live my life as I was, supporting my kids, supporting my husband, and then making arrangements for them to party. And my funeral should be a party.
Celebration of life versus a desperate moment.
Yeah, it's just a party. Yeah, you can be sad, but only be sad for 5 minutes. Don't obsess about it. Don't let it take over your life.
Right.
Celebrate the life now and then move forward with me in mind.
I like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. By the way, what do you think about all this? If you write any comments, I try to respond to them. And also, please like and subscribe to this. Appreciate that. Yeah, thumbs up. What's an important life lesson you have learned? And the reason why I ask this is because, I always say life's not, I'm a pretty positive guy, to be honest with you. I'm happy most of the time. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows for everybody. Mm-hmm. Certainly not all the time. Some people have a really kind of a tougher time at this thing called life. Mm-hmm. You have any sort of thing to take the edge off, or that is kind of a life lesson that you've found is helpful?
Give yourself permission. You can give yourself permission to be sad for the moment.
So you're talking about before.
So you can grieve. You can give yourself permission to try the new things. Just because someone says, oh, you can't do it, you know what? Go do it.
Yeah.
Go enjoy. Go try. Because if you don't try, you don't know if you're good at it.
Yeah, that makes, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like give yourself permission to do whatever. You just need to give yourself permission to do it.
Yeah, I really like that. That makes me think of like, when you were saying that, as you were saying that, I was thinking like, so many times we make decisions like it's final, like, well, if I take this job, I can't do X. But the truth is, if you just reframed almost everything in your head, you said, well, I'm gonna go try this for 6 months or try this for a year and see how it goes. It changes the entire dynamic. Then you can, I think it's easier to go be brave and try something knowing that but for some reason I feel like we have this thing, well, if I choose this, everything else is gone. But that's not necessarily the case.
No, it's still there.
Yeah.
You can always go back.
You're just choosing for now
Or
to see how to try it out.
It will come around and be different as you move forward.
Nobody has ever answered the question that way. I really like that. That's a good answer.
Dun, dun, dun.
I like it, yeah. So, by the way, we're out here and it is like perfect weather right now. It is middle of April, and wherever we're at,
84 degrees and it's nice and breezy.
It is just money. I say that because the next question is, how do you define a good day? But breeze and great weather aside, how do you define a good day?
Well, I can always do it like they did in that movie with Sandra Bullock and say April 27th, but no, it's not.
So,
a good
very
day.
specific.
Yeah. A good day, I would say, one, nice breeze, sunshine. I played pickleball this morning. That made it a good day with some friends.
Yeah, that would be fun.
First time I ever played pickleball. It was pretty darn fun.
And you're still claiming it was fun. First time. Very good. Nice job. Okay.
I'm going to do it again.
Very good.
A good day is when I see or talked with my children and my husband. I have one child who is away at college, another one who's at college, but she still lives at home. And then I have a high school senior. So if I get to see them, because they're learning how to be young adults, so they have a life. They go off and they do things. So if I can see or talk to them, it's a good day. My husband coming home and having dinner, and then tonight he's going to karate, but that's a good day.
Wow, I like that too. That's kind of what came to my mind as you were saying that, is like every day that I'm here, that I'm present to have an experience is pretty much a good day for me anyways. And when you were saying that, I was thinking like, yeah, she's defining kind of like normal days. You know what I mean? Like that's a good day to you, is a normal day. Yeah, I like that. This is a little more deeper, and by the way, any of these you can skip. If we don't like these, just skip it. We'll move on. But
or I might just give a weird
you're welcome. That'd be even more fun. What is the purpose of life? Do you have any sort of guiding principle, keys to a good life, anything like that? Is there a purpose to life?
Lead or be lunch?
Lead or be lunch?
And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to lead people. I mean, you can lead yourself.
Lead, L-E-A-D.
L-E-A-D.
Be a leader. Lead or be lunch.
Lead or be lunch, because if you're not making your own decisions on your life, someone is making it for you.
Very interesting. Is that anywhere near? I remember there was this weight training shirt I saw in the gym one time. Tell me if I might be off base, but it's a funny shirt. But it was a pack of dogs, and it said, if you're not the lead dog, the view never changes. Is it like that?
I remember seeing that, but no, this is when I used to work at a broker-dealer.
Hey, Bird. Hold on one second. We're being interrupted by that guy. And I just talked about birds being loud, but it's nice. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But I used to work at a broker-dealer, and
I don't know what is a broker-dealer?
It's when they sell stocks and bonds.
Oh, okay.
But I worked in the marketing department.
Okay.
And that was in a point in my life where I wanted to be the vice president with the corner office. So that was that time of my life.
I could see it.
And I'm the president with a corner office now.
Exactly.
My own office.
There you go.
And I'm also the janitor too.
Yeah, well, that comes with the territory.
Yes. But, that was at a point in my life where if I didn't take the initiative, someone was going to give me my walking instructions.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, lead or be lunch.
Gotcha. In other words, you better stay on the upward trajectory, or somebody else is going to take
control, or somebody else will control you.
Okay. That's a pretty good principle. What is the toughest and the best thing about life? What do you find is the toughest thing? And after that, we'll talk about what do you think is the best.
Toughest thing is letting go when you have to. For example, children. So you have to let go.
Parent passing away, relationship that ends,
that, but
job you loved.
Yeah. For me, it's, we only had our children do, there was only a couple of mandatory things. The first one was they had to get their driver's license within the first week of their 16th birthday, which means we had to learn to let go and let them drive.
Yeah, right. Which is always a scary proposition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we tried to be one of those parents where we didn't hover. So, but, of course, we still track them on the phone. We have Life 360. But, so we had to let go, but we were still like, oh, okay, this is where they are. But we had to let go and trust that they would make the right decisions. And I feel like we did it earlier than a lot of my kids' friends' parents did.
It's a very difficult thing. I've seen this with a lot of parents. And it obviously makes sense. I mean, there's a biological imperative and a number of other things, but the attachment piece of it, because, for so long, I don't have to tell you, you're a mom, but they are literally, if you're not there, they don't survive. They literally do not make it. And then for someone to transition away from now go do it yourself, I mean, that's gonna be really tough.
It's not easy for the parent because, we want to make sure that, my daughter just did her own taxes this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought it's
not anything life-threatening, but she had to do her own taxes. It's like, okay, I've always done the taxes. Well, now she did her own, and now one thing that I don't get to do for her.
Now, this is a little bit of a tangent, but it reminds me when you're talking about parenting, you're parenting it for at least 18 years straight, minimum, before they legally get out of the house. But I was thinking it kind of, in a weird way, what entered into my head was, I was thinking of Tom Brady, the best quarterback of all time, is what they say. And I was thinking probably in his whole life, he was probably the best at everything. Probably. He was the best athlete in junior high, high school, college. I mean, I'm imagining his life was pretty good. Most of these NFL guys, they have to retire in their mid-30s. So I'm imagining they go from probably, I don't know what age, probably age 10 to call it 35 as, you're the man, you're the best, you're amazing, blah, 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 here's all this money, here's all this clapping, right? And then, whoop, rug pull.
They have to pivot.
That's what you're talking about with the kid, with you having to let your kids go do their thing, is this pivot. And it just seems like pivoting is hard.
Pivoting sucks.
Yeah, right? Yeah, pivot, that's the right word.
Pivot.
Yeah, it seems like that would be very tough, especially even more so than my Tom Brady analogy, being a parent, because there's nothing more, I can't imagine anything more important than that relationship. Anyway, okay. What's the best thing about life? We did the toughest.
The relationships you make.
That's the best thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Besides the breeze, the gorgeous breeze and the 85-degree weather, it's the relationships you make. It's, obviously my mom, of course, I've got a relationship with my mother. I've got my husband, my children, my friends, people that I grew up with, people that I'm meeting now.
Yeah.
It's the relationships that you make because you weren't meant to live alone.
Yeah, we are. There's a social dynamic to our being.
We're not meant to function alone.
Yeah, I mean, all the latest psychology and stuff bears that out. I mean, and even through history, that's sort of, and just how we're wired. But yeah, I could see that. I like that one. Yeah, friends is a big one. I always think friends in general are a big one. When you said the people in your life, I mean, we have, you have your family that you came from and all those things. But friends are kind of unique in that, that's a choice.
They're family that you choose.
You know what I mean? And so it's I can see that as extra something. I mean, it's obviously not as close as you're not sharing blood. You didn't grow up with them or whatever, but there is something kind of neat about two people finding that their chemistry somehow aligns or they have common interests or whatever. I don't know. All right.
And experiences that you've shared together.
Yes. So that's, I like that. I think that is about the best thing in life. This is a tricky one, but since you brought up kids, I think that we can use this one. And I'm gonna try to explain this. I was difficulty with this question. Do you think people really care to understand your point of view or where you're coming from, or they just want what they want? So take kids, for instance, as an example. There might be some disciplinary action because they did something wrong. Basically, all they care about is, How long are you going to ground me for? That's literally all they, right? Whereas you're like, no, 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 let me tell you why you hate your mother right now. The reason is because I saw this trend and I'm preventing you from harm down the road, blah, 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 right? So that's my question. Do you think people really care to understand, or they just kind of want what they want?
In this day and age, I think it's morphed to, I want what I want.
Okay.
Especially as adults. Even as adults, I want what I want. Look at how much arguing there is. And people are soapboxing over here. These people, they don't care. They're just going to keep going. But this person wants to soapbox, and they want to talk about their feelings or talk about their point of view. And they want to make sure someone else understands what they're talking about. And so they don't care what this person thinks. So they're over here soapboxing.
You are making the best point I've ever heard on this question, which is to say, like, yeah, I do care that I want people to understand me. But the other part of that is you have to try to listen to them and understand them
they
too.
don't want to because they think they're right.
Well, you cannot make an argument against your thesis there. This is common, pervasive across almost everything in society now. So that is a toughie. Yeah. So your answer is no. Less people are caring to understand these days, unfortunately. All across the board. I agree with you, I think. Yeah. Okay, that's a good answer. Wow. We're down to the final two questions. Happiness. What do you think it is? Is it important? Yeah.
Happiness is important just as joy is important because they're not the same thing. Happiness is something that you feel now. Happiness is something temporary. Joy is something that you feel inside, and joy takes you through to the next level. So you can be happy now and feel joy for something. And you probably got a crackle there, right there.
Oh, that's all right.
I touched
They can handle it. Okay. So
happipiness is temporary. Joy is deeper and more fulfilling. So happiness.
So let's we'll jettison happiness for joy. You would say it is important?
Yes.
Okay. Because I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think like health and happiness for me are like, that's it. Those are my two. Health and happiness. I figure from there, everything else kind of are subcategories. If I can nail those two, I'm doing pretty good. But isn't it a weird sort of human condition though, how like, and I get kind of the evolutionary reasons why, but like we're so preconditioned, like take what you were kind of talking about there, for instance, like why is the news today so popular? Because it's sensationalized and it's one train wreck after another. What is it about us that, like if they were showing, I don't know, ping pong championships and other neat, fun little things on TV, we'd get bored and turn the channel to the train wrecks every time. What is that about?
We like the drama.
You know what I mean?
We like other people's drama. We don't want to be in it, but we like to watch it.
I feel like I hate it though, but yet I'm compelled. In other words, like I hear you saying we like it, but I'm like, I do not. That is disturbing.
But you want it. You want to see it because you're not in it. So you're like, okay, I can be a looky-loo, and it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, it's too bad that there's almost not or maybe it is beneficial. I don't know, but almost like a super empathy feeling that we humans had, because then that way, like if, when there's a war thousands of miles away or children starving thousands of miles away or whatever, we'd feel it more and do something about it.
And some people
we'd be less watching and more actionable.
But some people do.
That's true.
And they've got that personality for it.
Right.
That's why we all have the different personalities.
That's true. Yeah.
So
anyway, okay. Yeah, I don't know where I went with that. Again, sometimes I get on these crazy tangents, but okay.
We'll bring us both back.
Okay, this one you may have answered, and when we were having an earlier conversation, but I'm going to ask anyways.
Okay.
Oh no, I didn't ask a specific question. We have another video that she's in that I'll link to. But if money was no object, and you could bring anyone with you, where would you live?
I would live on a cruise ship.
Wow, let's hear this. I have a friend, by the way, that's going to agree with you. He would love that idea.
They have world cruises. Now, Regent Seven Seas. Regent Seven Seas is a luxury cruise line. And they have this world cruise. So you're on a ship for 5 months, okay?
Half a year almost.
Yep. 4.5, 5 months. And you're going from port to port. And Regent Seven Seas, they have phenomenal food. They have phenomenal service. They have excursions in every port.
Yeah.
Now, you do the world cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I have 3 children who are now young adults,
Yeah.
I will just go visit them for the other 6 months out of the year.
Okay.
They will have to deal with me.
That is a
2 months out of
great
the year.
answer. Nobody's answered it in that way. So I'm going to change the question. But I like it. If you had to pick one place to live, period, not on a cruise ship. Money is no object, and you bring anyone with you. In other words, right now I come up, here's a check. Here's a check, Linda, $10 million. Here's $100 million. I can forcibly bring anybody you'd like with you to go with you, but you have to live there for the rest of your life. Where are you picking?
Well, it would be in Italy.
Okay.
I'd actually probably, even though I love going to Puglia, I'd probably go to Umbria or Tuscany. They have the rolling hills, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And then with all that extra money, of course, I can travel and go on the
Boy, you are just working this in no matter how I frame this hypothetical. That's
with
fine.
the world cruise. I can go and I can stay at my house in Umbria, and I can go on the world cruise and come back to my house and go see one child and come back to my house, another child, back to the house, another child.
Well, very good.
And my husband will love it.
Oh, he's there. Okay, great.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yes, he's there.
Of course.
He's my soulmate.
Exactly. Yeah, it's fun to travel with somebody that's fun.
Yeah.
So that's good. Linda, thank you for doing this interview and answering all those questions. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.